Hi everyone, my name is Mitsu. I'm a marathon trainer based in Mumbai and I've completed the Procam Slam twice. Fortunately, I've also been in the top three of the leaderboard in 2024 and in 2025. However, if you are someone who is going to begin your Procam Slam cycle with the TCS 10K that's going to take place in April 2026 onwards, there's some information you need to know because the rules and what you get after completing the slam have changed. So, if that's something you want more information about, then stick around until the end of this video. What is the Procam Slam? So, this particular medal that I'm wearing, it has honestly gotten pretty bad from the edges. I'm not sure if you can see that. But this is what you get when you complete all the four feature races of the Procam Slam. Of course, they're all organized by the company Procam International. This is the medal that I received when I completed the TCS 10K in 2024 because that was my fourth race that I ran consecutively in order to complete the cycle. There's another one that I received last year after I finished the Vedanta Delhi Half Marathon in October. So, Procam International in India organizes four feature races in a calendar year. So, the shortest distance is the TCS 10K, which happens in Bengaluru in the month of April. Then there's a slight gap. You have the monsoon season and everything, wherein you can spend your time training for the Vedanta Delhi Half Marathon, which takes place in October. After that, you have the Tata Steel 25K race, which happens in December. And then you have the big one, which is the Tata Mumbai Marathon, which happens in January the following year. Now, you can start your Procam Slam cycle from any of these races. However, in order to become a Procam Slam champion, you need to complete each of these races consecutively. If you don't run one of those, basically you just restart the entire cycle. Now, when I first completed the cycle in 2024, we did receive a couple of benefits. Of course, there was prize money for the top three who topped the leaderboard, which is the aggregate of all the timings of all the four feature races. And there was good prize money for the top three, no age categories mentioned, at least for the leaderboard. And you would get this at the last race where you complete your cycle. They would also give you a small pin. They would give you a t-shirt. There was also, oh yeah, there was a provision wherein for the next 4 years you were allowed to select a particular running bib number that would be locked in for you for the next consecutive 4 years. Also, in the next 12 months, they would give you the registration fee for any one of their next races would be waived off for you if you had completed the slam in the 12 months before that. So these were a couple of really good benefits. There was also a large photo frame that would be sent home, a really nice one, laminated, framed really well, with one photograph of you from each of the feature races, along with your time mentioned and also the signature of the event ambassador. So these were a couple of things that really caught my eye in 2023, which is when I had decided to train for my first half marathon and then, of course, the Tata Mumbai Marathon, which is what I wanted to run since that's when I actually thought of getting into long distance running. So yeah, I trained for my first half and full marathon and also completed the slam all in one cycle, which was pretty exciting for me then. And so this is basically an idea of what the Procam Slam really is. So if you begin your Procam Slam cycle with the TCS 10K, which is going to take place in April of 2026 in Bengaluru, when you complete your four consecutive feature races and end the slam in Mumbai, which is at the Tata Mumbai Marathon in January 2027, here are the rewards that you will receive. Of course, you will receive the running a t-shirt, a Procam Slam t-shirt. You will also receive a cap. You will receive a Procam Slam medal, something like this. And then you are now going to receive one part of a five-part medallion, which is basically like a small pin, which usually comes in a small brown box that they send. It kind of looks fancy, though I'll be very honest, both my pins have become terribly discolored, even though I've actually kept them really neatly in the same box. That's something we'll get to later. Other than that, when you complete one cycle, you will be eligible to receive a running bib number that will be only for you. Like you can choose the number, but this will be reserved for you only for a period of 1 year. People who completed the slams earlier, or those who will complete it, say at the Tata Steel Kolkata one, 25K in December, will still be eligible to reserve that number for 4 years, because for them, it's still the previous rules that would be followed. These changes are only taking place for those who will be completing their slam at the Tata Mumbai Marathon in January of 2027. Okay. Also, we did get like one free registration after completing the slam. That's not eligible anymore. Like that's gone away. So the only thing the new Procam Slammers from January of next year will get is basically an extended window for registration for the other Procam races up to 3 weeks before the race. So that's the only benefit. You won't get a free bib anymore. Other than that, this is a change that happened last year. So remember, I did tell you that they would send a really big frame, a photo frame home. Okay, that isn't there anymore. You just get like a digital photo frame where you select your own photographs from the four feature races. You just generate your own digital frame and then you just keep that copy. Other than that, you will also continue to receive an e certificate. Earlier, we had received a physical certificate. Of course, I did bring it up in 2024 that it was fraught with errors. And then the company, once they recognized that they had made a big mistake, they actually sent out physical certificates with the corrected spellings to each of the Procam Slam finishers. Even the prize money for the leaderboard toppers has changed. So earlier, the top three men and the top three women, based on the aggregate time of all their four finishes of the four feature races, would receive prize money. I think it was 1 lakh, 60,000, and 40,000, something like that. But from the based on the new rules, that's people completing the slam from January of 2027, if you complete it then, the new rules will apply. So they will still publish the top 20 finishers based on the aggregate timings, men and women. However, for the prize money, that has changed. It's going to be according to your age category, which will be like, say, 25 to 29, 30 to 34, 35 to 39, and only the top finisher in that age category will be eligible for 25,000 Indian rupees. Of course, they will deduct taxes according to government rules, but this makes it a little nicer because you can still get the prize money even if you are, say, for example, a beginner runner, but if your aggregate timing in your age category is still better than the other ones who actually completed all the races in that particular cycle, you could still win. So that's a change I really liked. However, I personally have a few qualms about the way the entire Procam Slam is managed. Now, I really love the fact that, it's a great accomplishment for amateur runners. It's something that they can look forward to because that's how you base your training. You also have, like, when you know there's a goal coming up, you can train specifically for that. You can also factor in your recovery and you can gradually build your mileage depending on what your next race is. And I personally feel that the races are separated well. Uh, One thing though that I'm not a big fan of is, and I've had a couple of complaints about this. Um, I feel, and I think Procam can definitely do a better job at this, is pay a little more attention to detail. For example, when I completed my second slam in at the Vedanta Delhi Half Marathon in October, I picked up my running kit. However, they gave me my t-shirt size is extra small. They gave me one for men. When I tried it on at home, of course, it was like way too large. So I wrote to the company, telling them like, "Hey, can you please send me the correct ones?" Because of course, their volunteers had given me the wrong T-shirt, and they were like, "No, we can't change that." So I was like, it doesn't feel fair because if you're an amateur runner and you've spent money to travel to four different cities to run, you've spent money to train for those races in order to, get this particular medal. And I mean, it's the small things that still matter. They matter to me. They probably matter to others as well. Similarly, in 2024, I was very unhappy with the fact that I received my certificate and it was like this huge accomplishment for me. And then I saw like the very simple spellings. For example, received, and there was something else, like a very prominent one right in front of your face. And there were like three or four different spelling mistakes. Initially, I assumed it was just my certificate, but then I checked with other friends who had also completed the slam there, and then everyone noticed that, hey, that was not good. So we all wrote to Procam. Luckily, they were decent enough to, send us new certificates, physical certificates. Well, we don't get that anymore. It's just a digital certificate now. But that's something that sort of didn't sit really well. Like, people aspire to do these four races, and it's for some of them, especially people who haven't been runners all their lives or haven't really been athletes, and this is something that they aspire to complete because it's something great for them, especially for people who have begun their fitness journey. They are training for a specific goal, and then they can call themselves like, hey, we're Procam Slam champions. We spent money, we dedicated time, we were disciplined enough to complete these four races in four different cities. And these are tiny things like, the receivables that you get, which actually enhance the entire experience. So I would really like for the company to pay more attention to that, just to ensure that runners truly go back with a fulfilling experience. And of course, they'll still feel proud, but this can just make the entire experience a little better. That's my point of view. Now, let's get to the fun part. Should you do the Procam Slam? Hmm. Um, Let me break this up into two sections. Okay. One, why I like the Program Slam. As a new runner, it was something that helped keep me motivated. Okay. I was aspiring to run my first marathon at the Tata Mumbai Marathon in 2024, which is January. That's a few months before that, when I was training for my first half marathon. That's when I got to know about the Program Slam. And then I realized that, hey, you can start it with any race. So I decided to start it with the Vedanta Delhi Half Marathon, which was in October. I ran that. Then I went for the Tata Steel Kolkata in December. It actually was a pretty good build up for me since I started with Vedanta Delhi, 21.1 kilometers. In December, I ran the 25K, which was exactly a month before the Tata Mumbai Marathon. So it's a really good race for you to check where you're at, because the 25K is an extremely fast race. It's pretty fast because the weather is great, the route is amazing. Um, there's ample space for you to run. It's a really good, very good route as well. So that'll give you a good idea of what your marathon finish time will be at the Tata Mumbai Marathon the very next month. And then you finally run TMM, and that's, of course, always a really muggy but great experience. Muggy because Mumbai is terribly hot all the time. So if you can combat that, you will actually enjoy the race. The crowd support is insane. You love it. And then once you're done with that, you just have one race left, which is the TCS 10K. in April. So that's a short 10 kilometers race. And then, you finish your slam in what, 6.5 months, which is like the shortest slam cycle, I guess. Yeah. So that's how I started. If you're someone who's aspiring to become a better runner, you want to be disciplined, you can aim to do the slam. Of course, you also need to factor in the expenses because you will have to travel to 4 different cities. You will have to spend time on your nutrition, on your race gear, and basically putting in a little more effort to ensure that you are able to run those distances in a good way without any injuries. So you need to factor that in, the expenses, the time, and over the months that you keep training, you will actually be able to condition your mind as well. That way, I love it. Would I recommend this slam to everyone? For the benefits, like the rewards, not really. I don't think it's something necessary. Um, I mean, if this is something that makes you feel great, I think you can run it if the medal is what you want. But I'm personally not a big fan of finisher medals. I like receiving the actual winners' medals, which I've received twice, once for the Tata Mumbai Marathon and once for the Tata Steel 25K in Kolkata. Those I treasure. Finishers' medals, I'm not a very big fan of. I'll be very honest. It's great for like specific races. For example, my first 10 kilometers race, which I ran in Goa, I love that medal because it means something to me. It was my first race ever. It was a very beautifully made medal, and I love that one. But in general, the other races that I run, it honestly doesn't really matter to me if I receive a medal for those or not. What I like more is the entire experience. So yes, I have a few favorites when it comes to finishers medals, specific races that have left some impact on me. The other thing, you get a T-shirt and the medallion, which if that's something that you would love. I personally am not a fan of the quality of the medallion. I'll put in a shot here where it's already gotten discolored, so I'm not happy with that. Um, of course, the prize money, if you're someone who wants to run the race competitively, that is definitely something that will keep you motivated. So you could do the slam for that. Other than that, we have the digital certificate, which is also a good memory. And you don't get the physical photo frame anymore, you get the digital photo frame. So that's a good memory as well. All in all, I feel that for the price that we pay for registration and for traveling, the rewards have actually decreased. So it isn't the same value for money as compared to earlier. So a lot has changed. So I would actually like you to evaluate your current financial position, whether you have that much time outside of work to train for those races, for all of those races. Otherwise, you can always run the same distances in your own cities or wherever you are, or maybe, travel for one of those races. Completing the slam isn't mandatory. And I also feel that Procam has actually come up with these new rules because they probably didn't anticipate that hundreds of people would be doing the slam over the last 1 2 years. And of course, like, the numbers have increased exponentially, which means people don't really mind spending money to travel to all of those cities. So they still want to do that. But will the same number of people continue doing the slam now that the rewards have changed, now that they don't even get like a free registration, and also the bib number will only be reserved for 1 year, or if you complete 5 cycles it'll be reserved for 2 years? So that's something we'll have to wait and see. You let me know, what do you think with these new rules? Are you someone who will continue doing the slam, or are you like, have you done the slam once and are you like satisfied with it, or do you think that it's not something that is necessary? because even if you run the races in your own cities and run them well, aim to get a better timing, it matters more for you. Also, are you someone who likes finishers medals, or are you just like happy with, like going, enjoying the race, getting amazing race photographs, and basically tell me what motivates you as a runner, as an amateur runner? Well, that's it for now, and I would really like to read your comments about this, or if you have another take on everything, do let me know, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.